Hold on a second.
Call this meeting to order with the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Burris,
Here.
Commissioner Basom. Here. Commissioner Missoula,
Here.
Commissioner Mile,
Yes.
Commissioner Seaman, Commissioner Williams here. Commissioner Holloway,
Here.
Commissioner Burris,
Here.
Commissioner Smucker,
Here.
Commissioner Thwaites, here. Commissioner Mile,
Yep.
Commissioner Blum,
Here.
City Manager Cousins.
Here.
Quorum is present.
In front of you, you have the agenda for this meeting. Is there any additions or? None? And the next is public comments and questions. Have we got any at this point?
We have to approve the agenda.
Hmm?
We have to approve it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, gotta back up. We gotta approve the agenda, then we need a motion and support.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the agenda as approved. Now public comments. Oh. This double meeting. He's the fault. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
All those opposed, motion carried. Now we'll get there.
Go ahead.
Good thing you got here to get me straight.
Today's not the day.
Any comments at this point? There'll be chance for comments later. And we'll move on to number 4 to review the proposed 2018 Stanton zoning ordinance and zoning map. Tim Johnson, Main Street Planning. You've got the floor.
Okay. Thank you for having me in. My job tonight is to review the draft zoning ordinance and map with you. I've been working with the mayor and the planning commission since last October, November, and they've been meeting twice a month, which is pretty fast paced to come up with a brand new zoning ordinance for your city. I passed out to you a summary of that. What I'd like to do is review that with you. And as we go through here, keep it informal. If you have any questions, we'll just discuss those. The Planning Commission is presenting this to you. They've spent a lot of time on it. They're comfortable with the regulations. And our job tonight is to find out what you think. You're the elected officials, and it's important that you understand and have a good grasp of the land use and zoning laws that you're going to be putting into place that will replace your existing zoning ordinance and map. So before we get started, does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay. I want to ask you if you've read the whole zoning ordinance, because it's very long and very detailed. And you have to trust to a certain degree that the Planning Commission put this together with a lot of thought, and you have to trust that what they're giving you is well thought out. But if there's certain things that you don't understand or you disagree with, now's the time to get them on the table. Bill has given me some comments regarding punctuation, grammar, maybe some words are left out or spacing. All those format items can be taken care of. If you want to filter those through Bill to me, then by the time it gets back to you for a public hearing at the city commission level, those will all be taken care of. So those, I don't want to get into that tonight necessarily, just filter those through Bill back to me. It's a big document, there's a lot of words, a lot of periods, a lot of commas. Maybe we didn't catch some, maybe we didn't catch it. And really, let's get them all done before we get this thing out. I'm more interested in what you think in terms of the substance and the meaning of the land use laws that are going to be putting into place.
So, I'll let you continue.
Feel free to interrupt or have to go through it. Okay?
Are we gonna go item by item then, or like by section, or?
I'm going to go through this summary.
Okay.
And at that point in time, if there's something under that particular topic that you want to refer to, I'm going to go to a page in the zoning ordinance, then we'll go through it.
Okay.
So, let's start on this first page under the general items that we perform. Quite a thick list here, but we began this process by doing a training session on the basics of planning and zoning. We gave the planning commission a handbook. That was a pretty good session. We prepared an update of the planning commission bylaws. We also prepared and updated an ordinance to reauthorize the planning commission under the Michigan Planning Enabling Act, and we increased the number of planning commissioners from 7 to 9. All those things kind of preceded getting into the actual zoning ordinance rewrite. We did prepare a new zoning ordinance that is compliant with the relevant Michigan statute, in particular the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, which your current ordinance was not in compliance on a number of issues. We came up with a new format in digital form that allows you to navigate through from any place on any page. You can go to any different chapter or topic throughout the zoning ordinance when it's in digital format. In paper format, you still got to turn the page, but it's much easier to get around. And many people, when they come to your community, one of the first things they look at if they're going to develop property or move there, they want to see your master plan and zoning ordinance. And it's very good tool to have when your zoning ordinance is hyperlinked like ours is, and they can navigate throughout it and find out what the rules are.
I had a question about that. So is this going to be put on our website, or does it connect to an external website in order to be, have that navigation to it?
It'll probably just be posted as a link on your website, but if you click on it, you go right to the zoning ordinance.
Okay, and the document itself is housed by Main Street? Okay. I
You
just
will
wondered
have-
if it was a PDF that was hyperlinked, or, and then will it be searchable? Like, can they just plug in a keyword that they're looking for and have it come up with all the different instances where it says something about that in here?
My answer to that is probably, I don't know. No.
It
I
should,
would say no unless they can set it up that way.
I think it should be with a PDF, you should be able to do a find, search and find.
I think we have to have the right format of Adobe on a computer in order to be able to do that.
So it's going to be a PDF format then? Hyperlink PDF? Because they probably have to go, like, they probably have to know how to do Control F then.
I'm a zoning expert.
Right.
Is that something we can ask?
Well, I guess this is why I asked, because one of the big things when I was working on the website for the city was we wanted all of our ordinances to be searchable. So rather than just having PDFs on there, scanned copies, it was important to put everything in the text form, and then if you just plug in on the website in the search box, whatever you're looking for, then every time it comes up on the website, it's there in like the ordinance. So I'm thinking about user friendly and
Yeah, I just did, on this document, I just did a search for front yard and it brought up quite a few different
but you had to do
instances.
Control F, you have to know that.
Or just go to edit and find.
Okay. Your average person might not know that. That's my concern.
You might not, that's true. If there's a way to set that up on your end to do that, then
Maybe even something noting underneath that hyperlink saying searchable using Control F or something, you know what I mean, for simple instruction that we can do on our end.
Okay.
any other follow-up questions on that?
Nope, I was just curious what format it would be in.
Those are all issues you have with the ordinance? All those green tabs?
Well, these are just questions.
Minor P.
You want me to read something? I'm gonna I'm gonna try to read it, that's my role.
That's good. I'm glad you went through it. I'm just kidding. We're gonna make sure we get it right. Anything else on that topic? All right. We looked at your master plan and incorporated the recommendations of the master plan, your 2016 master plan, in terms of what that said, in terms of changing your zoning ordinance and your zoning map. We came up with a new zoning map that would reflect the new zoning district boundaries, and we deleted a number of current zoning districts, and the new map contains more visible property lines. And again, that will be visible on your website as well. We prepared the subdivision control ordinance, which you did not have. And also we sent to Bill recently handouts to the public regarding procedures that anyone can hand out to the public that will be also available on your website. If someone has a question on how to process a rezoning, here's how it's done. Here's when the commission meets, here's the application fee, here's what's expected in terms of the procedure. We'll do the same thing for special land uses, site plan review, and zoning board of appeal variances. So again, user-friendly, let people know on your website, here's how we do things here in Stanton and process them. On our schedule, we began with the training session November 15th. Then on December 6th, we began meeting with the Planning Commission to update the zoning ordinance, and we met twice a month up through May to get to the point where we are now. This evening, we are looking for your acceptance, if I can use that word, of the draft zoning ordinance and map. If you accept it, maybe with some changes, the Planning Commission then by law is required to hold a public hearing on the zoning ordinance and map and recommend approval to the City Commission, and then maybe in September or October, the City Commission would adopt it, both the map and the text. That's kind of a rough schedule. I can't give you exact dates depending on what happens this evening. And then there's we have to publicize in a newspaper. Because the zoning ordinance affects the entire city, we don't have to notify the property owners. We just have to put a notice in the newspaper and on your website as well. Any questions on the schedule? Let me just go through the significant amendments here. And again, stop me at any point in time if you have an issue or a question or comment on a particular item. We're going to stop and address it at that time. Under zoning districts, the R1 and the R2 zones were combined into just the R1 zone. So on the zoning map, you'll see this is your existing zoning map over here. The darker yellow is R2. The new zoning map, we won't have an R2 category, we just have R1. So those districts were combined into one. That was a recommendation of your master plan. Minimum lot size, again, from your master plan, was to come up with a lot size of about 8,700 square feet. Minimum lot size, which we did, and that equals out to a lot that's about 66 feet wide by 132 feet deep. So any new lots that are developed on land that's zoned R1, again, this is new lots, the minimum lot size would be 8,700 square feet and a minimum width of 66 feet. Duplexes would continue to be allowed by special use permit, whereas right now in the R1 zone they're allowed by right. So a special use permit would be required, which means a public hearing by the Planning Commission and a site plan as well. The R3 zone, the name of that will be changed to the RM zone. Single-family dwellings would no longer be permitted in that zoning district, whereas your current ordinance allows single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and then on up. So Planning Commission felt it was a good idea to just have an R3 zone that allowed duplexes and multifamily and not mix single-family homes in that zoning district. We created a new R4 zone just for mobile home parks, and that shows up in the brown on your official zoning map there. Right now they're allowed in the R3 zone. My experience is it's best to allow manufactured home parks or mobile home parks in their own zoning district because they're regulated by the Michigan Mobile Home Commission by and large. Per your master plan, we deleted the government office zone and the special economic development zone. They're no longer on the map. On your current map, they're in the blue. And then the special economic development zone is up at the top. And Those were recommended to be deleted by your master plan, and so we did take those out. We have a new plan unit development zoning district right now in your ordinance. It's a special land use. We put in the zoning text that it's a new zoning district, and someone would have to come in and go through that rezoning process with the site plan to set up a PUD district. Any questions on that first page?
One of the things that was driving me a little crazy was consistency with these titles, like R1, RM, MHP. Like it's listed at the beginning of chapter 4 as MHP, but then in other places, such as the map, and a couple pages later, it's listed as R4. Like whatever we're gonna call them, let's be consistent. Sometimes they have hyphens, sometimes they don't. Like commercial residential, sometimes that has a slash, sometimes it has a hyphen. I know it's nitty gritty, but like if it's a professional document, then I think consistency is key.
Okay. The R4 is the I guess the number of the district as opposed to R1, and then it's called mobile home park district or manufactured. I forget the name of it, but it's called both. An R4 district is the mobile home park district or manufactured.
But it interchanges. So like on the beginning of chapter 4, it just says MHP. It doesn't mention R4. And then in other areas, like it's just referred to in different places as different things. And I just think we should be consistent. If we want to put R4 MHP every time, that's fine. Whatever we want to do. In one place, actually there was 2 places, I saw it just listed as MH.
Okay.
So, and I've got all that stuff, documented, but I guess that's just a comment that I would have regarding the different zones at this time.
Okay. Well, we do the comments. We want this to be consistent. And those things, yeah, so we'll pick up on that. We'll give you a list of those, we'll make sure they get corrected. Anything else on that first page?
One question I have considering the R1 versus RM is within the R1 districts, there are a few houses spread throughout town that have multifamily living in them.
Meaning, and multifamily is usually over 2 units.
Correct. I can think of 2 specifically that are over 2 units that are in the R1 district. So how will this affect them?
Well, they're non-conforming right now, and they would continue to be non-conforming because in the R1 zone, multifamily dwellings aren't permitted. And they will continue to be not permitted, so they're non-conforming now, and the fact that we're not changing that, they would continue to be non-conforming.
So,
It doesn't mean they can't remain.
okay, because that's what I'm thinking, like say one is up for sale and a new person purchases it. Does that then mean because it's changing hands? Okay,
No, the use is allowed to continue. That's your concern.
okay. Yeah, that's my only, I don't want to disrupt, I
No.
mean, they're not bad places, I just wondered if that would affect.
Yeah, no, but that's a good point, because we will be changing the zoning of people's property, and in some cases, the uses may become non-conforming. Under the new zoning district and the new zoning regulations, that use may not be allowed there anymore, where it might have been before, but under state law and your zoning ordinance, that use gets to continue. If it's sold, the only change to that is non-conforming uses or buildings, if they are going to be expanded,
Okay,
they may need a variance to expand.
okay, thank you.
Or if they burn down, your current ordinance says a non-conforming building or use, if it burns down, where the replacement cost is more than 60%.
Right, I read that part, okay.
We didn't change that, so.
If I could add something, if the use changes, let's say you go from a multifamily and you go to a single family use, then they can't say, well, it was a multifamily before, we get to have that again, because then it goes away.
Okay, yes, thank you for that.
And I'm currently in a CR district and it's being changed to completely C2. So what happens to me? I'm told that possibly if I wanted to add on to my home, I would be denied because I'm no longer a resident.
Well, if it's the CR zone now and the new language, both commercial uses and residential uses are permitted. So that hasn't changed. If your particular property is rezoned from CR to C2,
Which it is.
then nothing official has happened. These are all just drafts. Then the single-family house would become non-conforming. But the commercial part that's there would be conforming.
Right. I mean, I've always known, well, I take that back. I didn't always know because I didn't find out until a mini mall got built next to me that I was in a CR district. But, yeah, my concern was just expanding the move to completely C2, so I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I mean, what, I guess I'm not understanding either, which is part of the reason I'm here.
Sure. Well, if your property gets rezoned to C2, then you just have one house on that property, right?
And not the other shed.
Then your use becomes non-conforming. And in the world of zoning, it's better to be conforming than non-conforming. Because if your house burns down beyond 60% of its replacement value, the current law says it can only be rebuilt in accordance with the current standards. And the current standards are, houses aren't permitted. So the worst case scenario is you wouldn't be able to rebuild it as a house, but the ordinance allows, under certain circumstances, to be rebuilt as it was before it was damaged. So there is a variance procedure or a flexible procedure built in there that you could rebuild your house as it is today. Now, because the lines haven't been drawn yet, you know, that,
I'm right smack dab in the middle. I'm probably the only resident for half a
everybody
mile.
else is commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
It's actually in the deeds that they can't be sold as commercial. It's in the whole plot, that whole plot. It was never supposed to be sold for residents. It is in all the deeds. But how all the commercial businesses got started and approved, I don't know. Because I lived in the country my whole life, so I didn't know about all that stuff. So, and it did already, I mean, it did create a problem, and I initially found out about it, because the building, they were able to build closer to my property, being considered commercial, than what they would have been able to if it were a resident. So,
well, I guess if you could get us, we could show Bill where exactly that is, and we can look at, should we draw the lines around you, or maybe that area shouldn't be commercial, maybe it should be single family, but we'll go to CR, you know, all that can be adjusted. It just depends on where it is and where the lines are drawn. So if you can give us maybe a drawing or show us on a map after the meeting, we can see what we can.
well, I plan on starting a business, but the way everything else is going right now, I don't know if that's going to happen. So,
I'll help in there.
you know, okay. So just some questions I had, seeing how I am current. My home is a single family home, so.
Those are good questions. Stay tuned to the process.
Yeah, for sure, thank you.
Anything else on that first page?
I read somewhere, I think it was in the C1 section, something about if a business downtown was developing apartments in their upstairs, then they would have to have their own door to the outside. And I just got to think, and I know things that already are in existence would continue, as you said, but I just wondered if that would limit some of our development. I know Hotel Montcalm has recently switched their rooms upstairs to being apartments, and I don't believe that there would be any way to get up there other than the downstairs door that would go to Hotel Montcalm. I mean, that was just like one example I was thinking of. I don't know how the upstairs is accessed by other buildings downtown, but I don't want to do something that would limit our opportunities for development and bringing more living space and people to the town.
Can I,
The point of the C1 though is, and having that in there is so that you don't have to walk through the brickyard to get upstairs to your
Right.
apartment. You
Yeah.
go from the outside.
And that would be ideal, like if there's a way, there's an access point, but like, for example, with the hotel on town, like what if there wasn't? Would we wanna limit it, or would that be a variance situation, like special?
that's
What's
what,
there today would stay.
But I wonder if there's any future ones that aren't developed, that there'd be no access, no way to get upstairs.
A business owner's not gonna want somebody walking through their business at 2 AM to go home to their apartment. So you don't wanna have that access through the business.
I'm thinking back to something that I feel like there was an insurance place that I used to go to in Greenville, and I forget, but you would walk in a door, and then there to your left was a door to go into the insurance business, and then there were, like, I remember there being like stairs that would go up. So I'm thinking of like things like that. I don't know exactly, like I said, I don't.
oh, that's considered its own entrance though.
Okay.
Because that main first door,
Okay.
they would have a key or something to get in. But basically what this is referring to, and especially for insurance purposes, is that you can't, like say, for instance, at the Brickyard, say the apartment to go, the door to get into that apartment upstairs was actually where the basement door currently is. You know, that would then be illegal and not conforming. But the situation you're talking about is, technically, it's still a separate entrance.
Okay.
Yeah, entrance. Yeah.
I was just saying in that situation, there's only like one technical entrance to the outside, so I
Yeah.
wanted clarification on that.
I think all apartments in Utah, they also
They do
Do
know.
they?
Yeah. I can't think of one building that has an apartment space above that doesn't have an access outside of it. Yeah, they all have their backyards.
Just as you read this, you start thinking of all these things that you never thought of before.
Well, let's go to the second page. We updated each zoning district chapter to add new permitted uses that were appropriate to that district, and we added special uses. We revised some development standards for each district. For instance, in the C1 zone, currently you need 5,000 square feet along the 50 feet of lot width to create a new lot. And we basically took that out because buildings downtown are all much smaller lots, and that's just the way downtown's developed, is you don't have minimum lot sizes or widths. Whatever you can squeeze your building into is okay with us. That's how downtowns work. So we did put in there a maximum setback of 20 feet. In other words, the new building comes in the C1 zone, we want that building to be either zero setback right at the sidewalk, or don't go back any further than 20 feet, because we want to keep that symmetry of buildings close to the sidewalk downtown, and we don't want one building to come in later on, or a new building to be built on an existing site, and just kind of throw off the visual aesthetics of the downtown by going further back. We did put in some flexible language about the commission may be able to increase that setback because your C1 zone does have buildings that are set back more than 20 feet, and so we want to take that into consideration. We added uses to your zoning code to recognize the existing uses, and added new uses. For example, an automatic self-serve vehicle wash facility in the C2 zone is not in your zoning ordinance. Perfectly legitimate use, so we made sure that that was covered. We also added regulations in your commercial zones that have architectural standards required for new buildings. In other words, a certain percentage has to be either windows or face brick or something other than the pole barn material if they're going to put up a new building in your C1 and C2 zoning districts to help improve aesthetics over time. That covers quite a few chapters, so I wanted
The
to give you a
language
chance.
on page 8.4, under section 8.04.
Yep.
Where it said side yard for a building downtown, It says that it doesn't have to be any, so none, except if the building does not abut the side lot line, then a 5 feet setback is required. So is that like, it's either gotta be right on the line, or it has to be 5 feet back?
Right.
And I guess what was the reason for nothing or 5 foot?
To create an area that you could actually walk through and just would become a dumping ground for, if it's 3 feet wide or 2 feet, what happens in between? You can't maintain it, you can't get in there unless you're really thin. And
That's what I
people
was
just throw
wondering.
stuff back there and you can't see what's back there. So it's just it's kind of a visual thing.
Yeah, because sometimes you can get buildings like too close together that you can't, okay. That's what I was just wondering that. And then, the other, when I got to this page, I was just reminded again that when I went through the RRC training process, they talked a lot about how the trend in the industry is now like form-based code, and that these types of documents, you would see these days would have like a lot more pictures in them and graphics, and not so text heavy. And so when I got to this page and there's all these different dimensions and my brain's picturing it all, I thought, I was surprised that there wasn't more graphics in the document.
Well, we have a limited budget and graphics take a lot of money. So our budget, we spent twice as much money as we actually billed you for this course. And graphics, you have to pay somebody else to do the graphics, and our budget did not allow those kind of graphics, although I know the ones you're talking about, but we just didn't have the budget for that.
Okay. And there was also a wording thing, on the page before, under 8.03, letter B, it talks about some special uses. Or maybe, actually, that stemmed from even before. Okay, so on page 8-1, it talks about that restaurants, coffee shops, bakeries, and similar retail food establishments, including those with walk-up window service, but not including drive-in restaurants. And then it says, and restaurants not permitting dancing, live entertainment, and consumption of alcoholic beverages. And I think that maybe what was meant there, because that ends up being a special use later, is that it's not including drive-in restaurants and restaurants that do permit the dancing and live entertainment and alcoholic beverages.